You know why they call it Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Because most people think it's like an instant telegram because it's about sending messages and information. But it's really an instant gram of dope. So Instagram is actually dopamine. It's electronic dopamine, virtual dopamine. So, you know, that's why it's getting pushed so heavy, because women want attention. Attention has to deal with dopamine release. Dopamine is known as the reward hormone. And we call it the reward hormone, not because it rewards you, but really that it motivates you. Because the only reason why any reward has any value is because you worked hard for something. If you get called up on stage to get an award or a certificate or anything of the like, and you ain't did nothing for it, but everybody thinks you did, you're gonna feel like Hollow Man.
Hey, stay one with yourself out here, family.
Just your typical nigga shit. And I'm just tired of the typical nigga shit.
What keep you focused? Like,
what keep me focused is looking at the community. You know what I'm saying? It's something called the Tyrone Mays Rat Experiment. Y'all need to look that up. It's called the Tyrone's Mays Rat Experiment. It went down in 1940. He ended up getting it from another psychiatrist in 1840. It's called the Tyrone Mays Rat Experiment. And what they did was they took a few hundred rats, right? And they splitted them and they divided them. And what they did was they created an environment for both of these rats to live in. In one subject, they took about 100 rats and they put it in an environment where it had clean water. They put it in an environment where it had the right amount of space for the rats can, you know, get, basically if they wanted to be by themselves, they could. They made sure that it was good food in there that didn't have any type of poisons put inside the foods. They even gave them space to breathe, to go upstairs, downstairs. They just gave them this abundant environment, right? They put these rats in there. Mind you, these the same rats with the same genetical molecular structure, which is nothing different. They both came from the same mama, the same daddy, the same family tree, right? So they took these rats, they put one in a good environment, then they put the other 100 rats in a bad environment where they didn't get water. If they did get water, the water actually had acids in it. They made sure they didn't give them the regular food. I think they gave them like cat food or something like that with a bunch of pellets that was inside of them, right? They stuck them on top of each other. And they made sure that the space was very, very small. They never cleaned any poop out of the maze. They pissed out of the maze, and they left them in there. They left them in there for 4 months, and they watched how their behavior changed. They went back and they got the actual rats that came from the good environment, and they put them in the maze. They ended up going through the maze very, very fast. Then they ended up going to get the rats that they put in the bad environment and put them in the maze, and they didn't know how to even make it through the first section of the maze. So he like, maybe this is a coincidence. So he did it. So what he did was he switched the rats. He took the rats that was smart, that made it through the maze, that was in the good environment, and he put them in the bad environment. Then he took the rats that was in the bad environment, that was dummies that couldn't make it through the maze at all, and he put them in the good environment. He waited 4 months. Then he took them back out. The same rats that was good and smart, that was in a good environment, that he put in a bad environment, now they couldn't make it through the maze. The same rats that was in the bad environments, that was dummies that couldn't make it through the maze, he put them in a good environment. Now they making it through the maze and making it through life just fine. So he said, damn, it ain't the genetics. It ain't who these people is as individuals. It's the community. It's the environment that you put these biological entities in that changes the way they interact with their environment and with themselves. Did you know he did another 6-month experiment on the same rats that he left in the bad environment? Guess what they started doing? Killing each other. Some of the male rats started humping other male rats. Homosexuality. Look, the other rats that was at the bottom that didn't have the food, these niggas went upstairs to the other rats and started robbing them for food and water. I said, damn, this sound like your typical project. Don't this sound like the PJs? This is a real rat experiment. So it made me start questioning. I had to sit back and really rub my chin.
They turned into robbing rats?
They turned into robbing, homosexual.
But what else are you gonna do?
Rats.
It's a survival mechanism at this point.
Now check this out though, guys. It was a selective group of female rats, and I really want y'all to look this up when y'all get home today. Watch this. It will fuck your mind up. The female rats they started pampering themselves. They used to let their children just do what the fuck ever. They started pampering themselves. All they was worried about.
The hood rats. Which one of these?
See, these was the hood rats.
Okay,
the hood rats, right? Exactly. So the hood rats. I'm gonna quote that. The hood rats. All they did was pamper themselves. The only thing that they worried about was their fur. They worried about their weight. They didn't worry about their children anymore. They weren't worried about the mama papa rat. The only thing that they focused on was their actual selves. And then the father rat started going to other different parts of the actual rat experiment cage and started like bullying on the younger children. It was crazy, man. Look, it gets so deep when you really start watching it. It even rapists started happening. Rape with the older male rats in the community started raping the younger males and the younger female rats. Same thing that happens in the ghetto where a young girl will get touched on by their uncle, or a young male will get touched on by their uncle or their auntie. This happens. So it's like, damn, is this rat experiment that's going on in Tyrone, rat maze experiments, the same shit that's going on with us in these communities? And then you have to ask yourself, in the projects. Right. And who built these communities? We didn't build these communities. We ain't put the liquor stores in these communities. We ain't put dope in here. You got something called Russian AK-47s. Niggas ain't never been to Russia. You got Japanese SKs. We ain't never been to Japan. We got grenades that come from, we got all these different things in the community of America that's outside of America when niggas ain't never left the block. How was they getting there? This shit was set up. So once I realized, like, damn, me and my people is in a rat maze. This is a project. We are being psychologically experimented on. That's when I said, okay, this is my motivation. It's time to break the psychological chains of my people.
Yeah.
Yep. So once I fully got myself up out of it, my whole mission is I'm going to die for this shit. Everybody that I come in contact with is going to hear this message. And my message is, wake the fuck up, Black America.
Look, you think it's odd they slaved you if the slave master ain't served the same God they gave you? 400 years. Hold up. Yeah, hold up. Look. You think it's odd they slave you if the slave master ain't served the same God they gave you? 400 years later, and you hardly stable, and you turn around and beg that same God to save. Look, word to the sunrise. Homie, save yourself. Everything else, get a thumb drive. The young lives of black queens lost, misplaced, who've been raped, beaten, indoctrinated, and disgraced. We've been wet, shackled, and mutilated, put through degradation, disrespectfully viewed and hated. I mean truly flagrant, treated like shit in this fucking nation. Then in 1850, slaveholders came with this publication called How to Make the Ideal Slave. Now dig the vision. Rule number 1 was unconditional submission. Keep them in place with authority, cause rule number 2 was create inferiority.
So, who are we?
We are the gods and goddesses of this earth, of this realm. We have to realize that we are eternal beings, eternal creatures. Death is an illusion. All death means is that you're no longer sustaining this vehicle, but you have many different vehicles. There is no dimension of densities where you can travel to. Even in your dreams, you're in a body, right? When you're daydreaming, you're in a body. There is no dimension where you're not in the body. It's just different types of bodies you inhabit. So if I ask who we are all. We are consciousness. We are God experiencing itself in 7 billion different people because it wanted to experience its creation. If you were all-knowing and omnipotent and all-seeing and you created something, you will want to experience what you created. You want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. How can you do that if you don't inhabit a body because you're a consciousness? What the mind will do is create a body to experience reality. So who we are God. We are consciousness experiencing itself in a physical, terrestrial, or celestial.
Reason that white people in the United States or anywhere we are, in Europe, in Africa, in Australia, in Israel, wherever we are the colonizers. We are the colonizers, and we live at the expense of the assault, Europe's assault on Africa, the kidnapping of African human beings, the trafficking, all of these things that we hear today. This is where it came from.
And it's on World Star.
Hundreds of years of assaulting and stealing everything that African people and Africa as a continent had. and putting it into the hands of white people. And so this is why, as the chairman has said, the true class struggle, the true working class in the world is the African and colonized working class, not white people, because all white people, and you know this is true, you and I know this is true by just living our lives and seeing it. All white people sit on the pedestal on the backs of African and indigenous people. And, you know, the statistics are that even the only reason.
So let me make this very clear. See, when you're able to let this out like this, your life is a whole lot more better. And you're not looking for your life to be better externally, because that's not where life starts at for you to be better. It starts internally. So she is at peace with herself, telling the truth and walking in her truth. You see? But all the rest of you that use cognitive dissonance, that are benefiting from the suffering, the genocidal acts, the scientific experiments on women, children, and men. And you look around this planet today and you are afraid that the ozone layer is being removed at such a rapid pace. The intensity of the sun has increased. The changes on the planet as far as earthquakes, weather anomalies, has increased exponentially. Famine is starting to kick in on this planet. Famine. Viruses and diseases are next. Because of the frequency of the sun, and more importantly, because you as a species collectively, individually, and collectively refuse to acknowledge the fact that your lifestyle that
I had to get this one because the real question is, and he said y'all gonna run, have y'all ever dated one? Nigga seeing niggas' eyes blink black. Like, no sir. You got to go. Period.
They got you in a voluntary slavery and you don't know it. That reptilian done did his job to the human race. And God finna break it up. You gotta know what time it is. The hybrids all in the midst of your companies, all in the midst of your government, and you just think they just regular people. Like God gonna, at a certain time, God gonna let some of these shape change out of them, gonna put a certain frequency out there. So you
Listen, I'm trying to tell you.
Run to the car and get in your car, say, man, I ain't working there no more.
No, sir.
Man, I ain't finna go there no more. I ain't finna
Absolutely not. Don't even call me no more. Nigga blocked. They're trying to get my energy.
Because you don't want to know the truth. And God sent his messenger to tell you the truth. But you think everybody on this planet is the same. Talking about our thought.
Exactly. Now, I understand and understand why I understand and understand why he's using God. And God is supposed to resurrect us. The bloodline that travels back to the stars. It's the sun. The sun is going to unlock that dormant DNA, that 97% junk DNA that is in a certain group of people on this planet. Not everyone has dormant junk DNA. And this is what's happening. And you think when you walk outside or you walk through these stores or you see the parade or you see these stadiums filled with these people and these doctors and these, you really think these people are who you think they are. They're not. And they all go back to that fake royal family and that moon. I've been saying this for the longest, and everyone now.
I don't know what the fuck I saw. The fucking clone. What the fucking black person.
You're starting to see this for yourself because there's no.
It wasn't nobody in power. It's like an
explanation following the laws.
I don't know. Weirdo. That's what it was.
Any species on this planet to go from a haploid to diploids. That's virtually impossible.
Or the devil, like one of the other.
The same genetic material has to consistently copy itself. That's like you copying your name on your paper 221,000 times over and over and over again. Why is that? Your copy is like driving around the same block over and over and over and over again. 46 chromosome times. Exactly. That doesn't make any sense. And because we as a people have been stripped away from us being who we organically are, thinkers, scientists, chemists, geologists, astrophysicists. See, the key to the universe was, can I do in the flesh what I'm doing in the spirit? AKA gas forms, small particles. So can I go from gas, liquid, AKA water, to solid, because that's what we have inside of our vessels. The gases is the neuromelanin, the liquid, AKA neuromelanin, and water, and the solid is your physical vessel. Can I maintain me in my gas form while I'm still holding a physical form? Can I continue to eat and do the things in my gas form?
Y'all can fast forward through this.
As I'm.
Did you try it even yet?
No, I'm not going to do it.
Well, you're just anti
I'm not
leg
black.
washes.
I'm not going to wash my legs and feet.
You think that's just a black people thing?
Clearly.
Well, and he's
the only one here who took the day off. Washes his legs and feet. No, I don't think it's a black thing. I think using a washcloth is for poor people, but I don't think that washing your legs and feet is for black people.
I agree. I think the washcloth is a poor person thing. Because
I've only met poors who use them. I've never.
I know how when our skin turns green or when we wear copper or fake jewelry. Watch this.
So before you watch this video, please click the link in the bottom and go watch the last video. If what this guy is saying is true, that we used to have a copper-based blood and now we have a iron-based blood, then that means that every time we go to the doctor and they tell us we don't have enough iron in our blood, we need to eat more protein, we need to take more supplements, they are literally pulling us further away from where we're supposed to be. So y'all know on the Egyptian hieroglyphs where they have a lot of people who are blue in color, kind of like how the Avatar people are. It has been theorized that that is what our blood color is supposed to be, but because we've been oxidized so much, we've turned this brown color. But there's still animals on this earth that have this blue blood, and they've been studying it, and apparently it has like amazing healing capabilities. So hear me out. What if this entire time they're also making us more iron-based in our blood so that we cannot heal ourselves, and then we have to be dependent on pharmaceutical industry so that we get sick more often so that they can provide a service? Because again, the people who are responsible, or the powers that be, we hired them to provide us services. So what if this is just another way for them to make us dependent on using their services? Y'all tell me what y'all think.
Tonight, amid this Israeli war, tonight there is new concern that Iranian-backed hackers might have targeted the water supply system near Pittsburgh. The ominous message sent about using equipment made by Israel. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, now.
Tonight, evidence that hackers with ties to Iran may be testing the American infrastructure for vulnerabilities. Officials at a small water utility site in Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh, noticed Friday night that a computer that helps control water pressure for 2 townships was malfunctioning. When they rebooted the system, this ominous message, highlighted in red, appeared on the screen, saying, "You have been hacked." The group claiming responsibility called themselves Cyber Avengers, saying they were attacking because the water utility used equipment made in Israel. Officials warning that this form of attack has the potential to target any critical infrastructure in our area. David, tonight those Iranian-backed hackers are warning that any American utility using Israeli products is fair game and could be targeted.
My guy. So someone asked if I could do a video on Neanderthals. And I think I already did this video like twice already in the past, but I'll just do it again. Alright, so as y'all should know, scientists have found a new DNA called the Neanderthal DNA. And them finding out this DNA just proved that the stories of the Bible are actually true. See, if y'all have read the book of Enoch, y'all will see how Neanderthals came to be. The Enoch book is a lost book of the Bible. And there's also many, and I mean many books that have been taken out of the Bible. But if you read the book of Enoch, it will tell you how Neanderthals came to be and where this Neanderthal DNA came from. Also, scientists also tells you that every race contains Neanderthal DNA, except for one race, African modern descendants, aka black people. Scientists don't even realize that they're proving even more why black people are actually the true Hebrew Israelites of the Bible, the real Jews. One of the scientists was also caught saying that African modern descendants are actually the pure humans of the world. And that's not coming from me. They said that. And also, if you read the Bible, you will actually know that black people were the first creation. And no, this video isn't about race baiting or anything. It's all about telling the truth. So the Neanderthals came from giants. And the giants came from Nephilims. And the Nephilims came from the fallen angels. See, the Bible speaks about that the fallen angels were supposed to be protecting the humans. But instead, they began to fancy them. And they began to do sexual activities with the women and men. And when the fallen angels began to have sexual activity with the men and women, they created their own offsprings, called Nephilims. And when the Nephilims began to have children, they created the giants, like those of Goliath. And when the giants began to have kids, they created Neanderthals. See, when the fallen angels began to lay with the men and women, the humans, they created these different type of beings, which is sort of half human and half fallen angel. It mixed up the two DNAs. See, the Neanderthal skin couldn't be exposed to the sun, so they had to move to a colder climate. And guess where that was? AKA the Caucasus Mountains, which is where they got the word Caucasians from. See, these Neanderthal skin grew lighter and lighter, which created the lighter skin pigmentation, which a lot of these races and ethnicities carry to this day. That's why you will see till this day that a lot of people will say that the whiter skin pigmentation or the paler skins, that it's a mutation. Because everyone in the world was melanated at one point. That's why it's kind of crazy when I be seeing people argue about which land is theirs. This is our land, this is our land. Y'all don't even realize that all these lands originally started with all black people on them. Every Afro person in every part of anybody's land, Afro-Hispanics, Afro-Palestinians, wherever you are, any Afro person is the original people of that land. And it's crazy because black people get done the worst anywhere they go. And y'all don't even realize that that's really your land. But like I said in another video, y'all don't understand that that was one of the curses put upon us all as a people, along with many more curses. And this video was just about telling everybody the truth. I love you all, and let the truth set you free.
He know I stand on business. He know that. Ain't nothing ever pull my car ever in life. I stand on business.
What do you think about him rebelling against his parents?
First of all, he's gay.
Huh?
He's gay, man. Come on, man. That's the whole battle right there. That scene, they ain't showing it in the video. T.I.'s son is gay, bro. That's his issue, man.
That's what he's fighting.
That's what he's fighting now, is the generation.
Your opinion.
My opinion, and I know I'm right. He's gay. He's throwing up all this aggressive stuff to take people away from, you can see it. I mean, you can see it on it. You know, the gayness, you know, he's gay, bro. And aggression is a shield. Now, T.I., I love you, bro. I love you, my nigga, and I know you might be offended me saying that, man. But I call it like I said, bro. You know, if I'm wrong, you got my apology. Your son do, but I know I'm right. He gay, bro. You gonna find that out sooner or later. You know, maybe it take a fruit, something gonna bring it out. And all that running through the neighborhood shit, that's what he's running through it for, right? He's trying to find somebody, you know, all that aggression, unwanted aggression is coming out as a shield to prevent people from seeing the gay side of you. You think the more aggressive you sound, the less they'll see, right? But I see it all, right? I've been on. But let me tell you something, your daddy's an honorable man. And all that trash you talking against your daddy, ain't nobody feeling that. You know, I know you're a girl. You know, I know you're a little girl, thick lips. You know, walking somebody, it's gonna come out sooner or later that you doing this, right? And T.I., man, you can say, nigga, you whoop me and all this stuff, bruh, from talking. You already know it yourself. Now, you know it.
Hey guys, once again, I'm gonna show you guys something. So you see this reflection? The mirror thing doesn't just work on pure glass. You can also find a shiny enough reflection, just sort of
the food that they think is the same is not the same anymore. You know, everybody's for free choice. Whether we're liberal or whether we're conservative, we've all got that streak in us. But the fact is, you cannot have free choice unless you have an informed choice. And you can't have an informed choice if they're lying about what's on the label. What about Pam cooking spray? Everybody knows what Pam is. It's some kind of little healthy oil with compressed air that you spray it and it gets on your pan. It's not compressed air. That, you know, and they don't tell you, but it's butane and propane. People don't understand that they are spraying lighter fluid on their children's hot cakes. And it's fabulously successful. But we're gonna sue their pants off.
The battery packs in the human body. On one side, it's how many electrons are we putting in, and there are a lot of electron donors. Electron donors can be getting out in the sun, can be walking barefoot in the grass, it can be leaning up your body up against a tree because the tree has electrons and will donate them to you. Hugging an animal, a common way that makes people in nursing homes feel better is to buy them a dog or a cat. They hold the dog or the cat and get electrons from it. The animal runs outside and recharges itself and brings some back to you. Moving water is an electron donor, whereas still water tends to be an electron stealer. Moving air is an electron stealer. That's why when you ride in a convertible, you look really cool, but you're always tired when you get there because the wind steals electrons from you. On one hand, we look at what things can put electrons in the body, and then what things steal them. And again, the most common stealers are dental infections, emotional baggage, various toxins, particularly the toxins that we are getting from things like GMO foods, and pesticides and other kinds of things, air pollution. There's a lot of toxins around us. And of course, one can almost include in the concept emotional baggage. They're toxins in a different way, in that they rob us of voltage that we should be using for something else.
And a guy all decorated in navy blue uniform, real sharp looking guy, out in the middle of nowhere, getting out, unlock the gate, get back in the van, pull in, get back out, lock the gate, and take off up the mountain somewhere. And that was it. And then we'd see him come back out once in a while.
Now that we've established a definitive military presence, it makes you wonder, was the government testing some kind of super soldier or some type of experimental animal species? Is that what chased Don out of the forest? The areas near Big Dalton and Little Dalton Canyon have changed dramatically since Don lived here. The suburban and residential growth pretty much touches the national forest. So instead of looking for any activity down in that area, we're headed up higher into the mountains, towards Mount San Antonio, which stands above a 10,000-foot elevation. If there was some kind of creature living in this forest, they would definitely retreat to the highest peaks in the area, away from the presence of humans. So we set up full spectrum cameras, visual light cameras, still photography, and audio recording devices. While up in the area near Mount San Antonio, we didn't witness any anomalies or anything strange. Now that it was dark, we wanted to head back to the experimental forest. We were going to watch the facility and see if anybody was coming in or out, or if there was any activity on the federally restricted land. Using our equipment, we kept a watchful eye on the experimental forest. Although at first, there wasn't much of anything happening in the area, other than commercial air traffic overhead. In our still photography looking north towards the desert, we captured the strange light streak. The most likely explanation is an aircraft moving from left to right. The strange look of the streak was caused when the aircraft turned its lights off. It's extremely difficult to view satellites from the Los Angeles suburbs, but we managed to catch this one headed east over Glendora.
So whenever you hear the word sorcery in the Bible, and you thinking it's evil, that's alchemy, which is the study of melanin. So this whole campaign of what is called evil was to outlaw the mysteries of melanin, point blank. Because Satan is melanin. You get the god Tahuti, which is Tahuti is the god over alchemy. Over alchemy. Tahuti is the Greek god Hermes. And Hermes in the Greek mythology is also associated with Hades. That's Satan. Satan, Hades, Hermes, Tahuti, alchemy, melanin. That's what this shit is about. And so the mysteries of melanin is outlawed and becomes satanic. So when you hear the word Satan, Shut on, Shut, which means black substance, on, which is Anubis, the dog, Shut on, Shaitan, Satan, it just means melanin. These are formulas. It has nothing to do with some evil.
High above Los Angeles, California, in the San Gabriel Mountains, lie two unique government facilities. One is still open and operating. It's called an experimental forest. It's a place where the US government tests plant genetics and funds other climate-related research studies. The other facility is Morris Dam Reservoir, and it used to be a naval ballistics range. We're here because we received a report of a strange encounter from a gentleman who was chased out of the forest by some kind of bipedal creature. So UFO Seekers is headed to the area to have a look. For the first time ever, UFO Seekers is headed to Los Angeles County. We're making our way to Glendora, known as the Pride of the Foothills. It's our entrance to the Angeles National Forest. It's located just over 20 miles northeast of downtown Los Angeles. Glendora is best known for its restaurants and shopping. The founders of In-N-Out Burger used to live here before they sadly passed away. But we're not here to learn about history or shopping. We're investigating a sighting. This is where we're going to begin our journey, on Glendora Mountain Road. And Glendora Mountain Road will take us to the experimental forest. This lower canyon area is very popular with people who love outdoor activities in the area. It's also popular with bicyclists and motobikers. But we're headed up past all those activities, and we're making our way to the experimental forest. It's located over 20 miles up into the mountains, just below Mount San Antonio. Established in 1933, the San Dimas Experimental Forest covers 25 square miles. The facility seeks to document and quantify the water cycle in semi and steep lands. The facilities include a laboratory, office, residences, a mess hall, storage and utility buildings, water, electricity, propane heating, and phone service. They also claim to have monitoring equipment, rain gauges, steam gauges, debris dams, and water quality samplers. The experimental forest also covers the dam located in Big Dalton Canyon, and that's where our witness encountered a creature.
My name is Don Stewart, and I had an unexplained experience back in 1975. We were chased down the mountain by something very large. Some friends of mine, some high school friends, we would go up to Little Dalton Canyon, Big Dalton Canyon, Little Dalton Canyon, and go up in this day-use park area and just hang out, just kick back. You know, there was picnic tables and a little zoo there, and we would just kind of hang out after school or whatever. One day we decided we're going to hike way up on the hill, and we hiked about 20 minutes up this ridge, and we just were sitting down resting and telling jokes and stuff and goofing off, whatever, like how kids do, and all of a sudden it sounded like these boulders were falling out of the trees, and they started getting louder, and the boulders started getting bigger and closer. This thing started chasing us, and the ground would literally shake with each step it took. When it was running, it was with every stride, you could hear a deep breath, like that, and I could actually feel the breath coming down from about 6 foot above me, down on top of my head, my shoulders, my neck. And we got down to the bottom, and this thing stopped at the culvert, and there was a bunch of reeds growing up at the culvert, a bunch of cattails and things like that. And then the water went underneath the paved road. We were parked across the paved road, and I looked over while I was shaking. I was shaking, waiting for my friend to unlock the car, and I looked across the road where we had just been, and I saw the reeds spread apart, and all I could see was just this big black gap. I couldn't see anything. It was just a big gap of just the reeds spreading apart. I said, "Let's go now, let's go." And so we sped off, and that was pretty much the last time we went there.